Thanks so much. Out front now, Democratic Congressman from California, Eric Swalwell. He sits on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, good to see you as always. You saw President Trump's son-in-law, senior advisor Jared Kushner, today said, quote, "I did not collude with Russia, nor do I know of anyone else in the campaign who did so." Do you have any evidence to the contrary?
Good evening, Jake. There is a lot of evidence that members of the team were working with Russians or seeking to work with Russians. And the goal of our investigation, though, is to understand the degree of that. And so I'm actually looking forward to tomorrow. I think it says a lot about where this investigation has gone. You have a ranking member in Adam Schiff and the chair and Mike Conaway working together to bring these witnesses in, and hopefully we can answer that question for the American people in short order.
Well, you say there's a lot of evidence of people on the Trump team wanting to work with the Russians or working with the Russians. We know, obviously, of Donald Trump Jr.'s willingness to hear the compromising material from what he thought would be a Russian government official. Is there anything more than that? Because that, according to Trump Jr. and others, didn't result in much. And are there other incidents, other meetings that you can tell us about?
Well, sure, Jake. Just to put it in perspective, the summer was quite a busy time for the Trump campaign and their contacts with Russia. You had Carter Page, who was a senior foreign policy advisor, with permission of the campaign. He went over to Russia in July, so just a month after the meeting at Trump Tower that Don Jr. hosted. And then, of course, you have Roger Stone, who was talking with Russians who had hacked into John Podesta's email. And he had sent out a tweet that was very, very, I would say, hard to read or hard to tell what he was talking about at the time, that John Podesta is going to spend his time in the barrel. And, of course, 6 weeks later, the Podesta emails are released. So we have to understand, what all of this means, how they are all connected, or maybe they're not connected, and it's 1,000 coincidences. But I am encouraged that we're making progress now.
But when you say evidence, do you mean beyond circumstantial evidence? Because what you laid out isn't necessarily anything new and isn't necessarily anything hard.
Yeah, and Jake, evidence to me is not a conclusion. Evidence has to be tested and developed, corroborated or repudiated. And so there's circumstantial evidence, and there's direct evidence. The Don Jr. email, to me, made everything quite clearer as far as what this constellation of contacts was, that the Trump campaign kept saying were innocent explanations. And Jake, also now, I think if you look at the president's own tone on this, he has gone from no Russia, no collusion, to saying essentially that's politics. So what? Who wouldn't have taken the meeting? And I think that's an acknowledgement, frankly, of the overwhelming evidence, because of our investigations and a free press, that they've had to deal with.
You'll be there tomorrow when Jared Kushner meets with your committee behind closed doors.
I will.
What questions do you have for him?
Well, Jake, I don't want Mr. Kushner to know the questions before he goes there. There's a lot of questions about the campaign's contacts with Russia, why they would meet with Russia more than any other country. And I don't think he's a novice at all. He seems like he knew exactly what he was doing. And this is a campaign for the presidency of the United States, and the campaign spent an extraordinary amount of time talking to a foreign adversary or representatives from a foreign adversary. It's just quite puzzling.
President Trump called out the top Democrat on your committee, ranking member Adam Schiff, tweeting, quote, "Sleazy Adam Schiff, the totally biased congressman looking into Russia, spends all of his time on television pushing the Dem loss excuse." Your response, sir?
That's a tribute to just how hard Adam Schiff has been working, that he has earned a nickname.
Congressman Swalwell, thank you so much. I'm sure you're looking forward to one yourself.
No, yeah, it would be, mine would certainly be overrated, I'm sure.
Out front next, Senator John McCain